Alright, so this video is going to be a re-upload of the video I made about Tim Dillon and his ex-producer Ben Avery that Tim Dillon actually did a copyright strike on and had taken down. And obviously I'm not going to play any of Tim's clips in this video so he doesn't do it again. And at first I thought this video was gone for good because after I upload my videos to YouTube I usually delete them because I just don't have the space on my computer, but now I probably will start saving them. And also I was looking for this video on YouTube Studio and I was just having trouble finding it, but finally today I looked a little harder and I did manage to find it. So I figured I'd re-upload it and talk about it a little bit now that I know this really got under Tim's skin. And this will probably be the last time I talk about this unless Tim does something else stupid, but it's not the end of the world. I'll move on from it. My next video will definitely just be a regular upload. I just wanted to point out the hypocrisy of Tim here because I was honestly pretty surprised by this. And it looks like he's not backing down from the strike, so the video probably won't be back up. So I figured I'd just re-upload it here. And again, thanks for all the support. A lot of people have been really nice in the comments. They've been helping out. Other YouTubers have been talking about this, like Speaking for Funny. He just released a really good video on this. So make sure you go check that out because I think he's returning to YouTube finally. And all the other people that talked about it, I really appreciate it. I'm glad people recognize what's going on here. So let's just get into the video, my video. Actually, I'm just going to be reacting to my own video. And so this isn't confusing, I'm going to use this picture of George when it's my video, like me talking about it currently. And I'm going to use this picture when it's the old video, the one that I'm re-uploading. Hopefully it's not too confusing. And again, after this, I'm going to be done talking about it. I'm not going to drag it on any further. You know, Tim, I don't think he's backing down from the strike. So whatever, I'm just going to move on. I'll keep uploading my regular videos. So here we go. That Tim Dillon's producer, Ben Avery, has left his podcast and Tim addressed it. He confirmed it's true and he hired a new producer. But people haven't been too happy with the way Tim has been handling the whole thing, which I kind of expected just because the way Tim Dillon is, he likes to joke about everything. It's hard for him to take things seriously. And if you remember last week, I was reading some of the responses his fans had to Ben leaving, and people were really upset about it, and they didn't want to believe that it was true. Because Tim has always talked about how Ben is his best friend, and he couldn't do the podcast without him. And a lot of fans felt like Ben was an integral part of the show, and without him, the show just wouldn't be the same. So when Tim addressed this on one of his Patreon episodes, people got really upset with the way he treated the whole situation, and he even ended up taking down the Patreon episode because he got so much shit for it, and he's still getting a lot of shit for it. In his newest video, the comments are just all about Ben and how they miss him, and it got a lot of dislikes as well. Some of the top comments said that they appreciate what Ben brought to the show. Somebody said Tim said it himself, no Ben, no show, and he was right. Another comment said Tim doesn't think he needs Ben, but the sweet inept sidekick really did balance out Tim's mania. Another person said not really interested in watching the show without Ben. Ben created balance. So Tim's new producer, I think he hired some guy from Barstool. There's going to be a lot of pressure on this guy, even though I don't think he's really going to have the same role. I think Tim's just going to go more with like having guests on every week possibly, and the producer will just be in the back really not saying much. I think I saw some comments where people were comparing Tim switching producers to when Joe Rogan switched from Brian Redband to Young Jamie. Alright, so now let's just check out what Tim had to say on the episode where he was addressing. So it's pretty crazy. I don't even criticize him that much in this video. I'm mostly just talking about what the fans have to say here. But the second half of the video, I think that might have been what really got him, because towards the end I read this Reddit post where somebody describes how they think it all went down between Tim and Ben, why they broke up and everything, and it sounded pretty accurate. And now the fact that Tim took down this video, I am pretty sure this is probably what happened, because he obviously got triggered by this or he wasn't happy with it, so he had it taken down. And I know he's probably not the one that physically did it, like went on YouTube and went to this and like filed the copyright claim or whatever the hell he had to do, but he could have easily just told his producer. And it says the Tim Dillon Show issued this strike. So, you know, if I got a copyright claim from the H3 podcast, I would say that Ethan did it. You know, I think that's reasonable to assume, even though it was probably one of his employees. Or if I got a strike from like Joe Rogan, let's say he did that, I would say it's Joe Rogan, even though there's no way Joe Rogan did it. Like, it's probably Jamie or some company doing it for him, but they're doing it on his behalf. So it's fair to say that Tim Dillon did this. And it is possible that Tim's producer did this without Tim knowing, maybe. But at this point, I'm sure Tim has to be aware of this. Like, enough people have been talking about it on Twitter or on Reddit or whatever. Like, Tim has to be aware of this, and he still hasn't changed anything, so he obviously doesn't care. And also, he's the one that hired this idiot that just goes around striking people. So either way, this is a bad look for Tim, and it shows he's a hypocrite that obviously doesn't care that much about free speech. So let's just get back to the video here. Talked about him, but people weren't too happy about this. And I saw this in Tim's subreddit. Somebody posted these Discord messages from Ben that people are acting like are pretty legit. Ben said, just so you know, I didn't leave to pursue my own creative project. That's bullshit. Looks like I don't even need to say anything. From what I've seen online, the truth is slowly coming to light. I know, but that's some bullshit narrative. The jokes were fine, I didn't care. The idea that I left the show because I couldn't handle negative comments, hated being a punching bag, is the furthest thing from the truth. Like I showed you in the beginning, his fans are still pretty upset at him, but I'm sure his show will be fine, and as time goes on, people will probably just forget about it. So I saw this post on Reddit, and I think this is one of the more accurate predictions of how all this went down. This person said, if one reads between the lines of everything Ben and Tim have said, plus you combine it with their personality types, it seems like Tim fired him or told him to walk, but before it became public, Tim asked him back with a raise, but Ben said no because he wanted an actual apology, not just more money. Tim doesn't know how to do that because he offering more money is his form of an apology. Then it became public. Tim lies and says it was amicable because Ben is capable of doing more. This is better for Tim, but honestly better for Ben too. Tim is a noted asshole, so he can deal with that, but it wouldn't be as nice for Ben to have been publicly fired. Instead of going back to Tim before going public or maintaining his pride over money, he's been publicly upset. So that could be a possibility. It definitely seems like there was some kind of argument behind the scenes, and there was even some arguing on the podcast towards the end where they both just seemed like they were annoyed with each other and they couldn't take it anymore. So the fact that Tim had this video taken down, I'd imagine this Reddit post is probably accurate, and also the Discord messages, he probably wasn't happy with that either because it makes him look like an asshole, since he was claiming that Ben was like, oh, I just don't like being a punching bag, I don't like you making fun of me, but that's not the case. And in those messages, Ben even said the truth is coming to light, and I think the truth is probably that Reddit post. I'm sure it's something like that. I don't think it was just some mutual breakup. I think Ben was probably upset that Tim got mad at him. Tim wanted him back, but he couldn't give a real apology, so Ben's just like, I can't take this anymore. Tim, you're like a fake friend, so I'm out of here. And now it obviously seems like Tim doesn't want that story getting out because he's saying that it was a mutual thing on his podcast. He's saying Ben wanted to go do something different creatively. He didn't want to just be a giggler. He didn't like him joking around about hating Ben and everything like that. And Ben in those Discord messages even said the truth will come to light. So it's obviously not how Tim's been portraying it, which I think most people figured. And most of the fans have been commenting negative things on his podcast. They've been talking about how they miss Ben, and now I'm sure people will be talking about how Tim's striking down smaller channels. So this is just not a good look for Tim. I guess the guy's never heard of the Streisand effect because I think people probably would have moved on from this in a few weeks, but now it's a bigger deal than it needed to be. So that's about it for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, then hit the like button, then hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you at the next video.